Road Ninja is kind of like Uber, but for Kenworth trucks. The app-based service is essentially a marketplace platform for commercial contract drivers and the companies looking to hire them. But it's been designed by drivers for drivers. One of those drivers is Road Ninja founder Bodhi Vetti, who joins me now. Hi, Bodhi.
Kia ora. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me. So tell me a little bit about I mentioned that you're a driver, or an ex-driver. Tell me a bit about your career and sort of how you started out on this path.
Yeah, sort of, after school, I did tourism and absolutely couldn't believe it was a job. It was an amazing lifestyle, getting paid to travel around the country, showing, all these awesome foreigners our beautiful place, Aotearoa. And yeah, it's the only thing that you needed to be able to do that was a heavy vehicle license and a passenger endorsement and a can-do attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and enthusiasm and passion for the country. So that's how I got into driving. Was
that
more
Kiwi experience?
Yeah,
or?
Kiwi experience. Yep. My business partner, later business partner, I'd got into the sort of sales and marketing role while I went overseas. He just started a bus company on Waiheke called the Beach Bum Bus, and so we joined forces doing that. And then in the winter we changed it to the ski bum bus and just lived the dream. Summers on Waiheke and winters at the mountain. And then some companies approached us about whether we could do some driving or get some of the drivers off us, because we sort of had a pretty good training program for our drivers to do the Beach Bum Bus and some of the Fuller's tours that we picked up. And it kind of evolved from there. Then started leasing out drivers, and that's how we kind of got into the game. Yeah.
Okay. So you saw a need from your perspective. So I suppose the beach bum and the ski bum was when you started actually contracting drivers, or were they employees of yours, or were you leasing them?
Well, we got approached by Fuller's, which is I think Suda Holdings, and just one of the biggest transport moguls in tourism globally. And for a first contract, they sort of said, we love what you're doing on the island for the younger tourists. Can you do that for us? So we said, that's a challenging proposition, because are you wanting us to stop what we're doing and do that, or what are you thinking? So we actually thought, well, why don't we just design our dream product if we had their budget and execute it, but we'll lease them the drivers, which was a concept I'd copied off my friend's dad, who was leasing pilots to the aviation industry. And I thought, they're not pilots, not aviation, but it's the concept seemed to be a good one. So yeah, we just thought, well, let's supply the drivers, and they were our first client.
Maybe give us the elevator pitch on what you've actually built with Road Ninja and sort of some of the features and unique aspects to it.
Yeah, well, some of the challenges. So when it was a labour hire company, DGH, we would agree on a rate with the company, and then we'd make our margin on how little we paid the driver, and that never sat well with me. I was, a lot of these drivers were my friends, and I was wanting ways to empower them, and, the reason that they would be doing stuff with us was so that it would be benefiting them as well, and they'd be, succeeding along the way with us, rather than, the way that the labour hire concept worked, which just didn't sit well with me. And so I wanted a way that we could change that, but an accounting system where each driver gets to pick their own rate, and managing that, and having agreements and terms that they're going to be committed to. You've got training, you've got inductions, there's a whole lot of other factors that come into play. And so that sort of managing of the different rates was probably one of the hardest parts. So yeah, I think I knew technology was the way to solve it. So that's where we thought, well, let's build a platform. And I sort of presented the problem and the idea to an agency, which was Seven Glyphs, and they were pretty instrumental in sort of taking that concept and turning it into a reality and pricing it all up. And then that's where we decided to I talked to Callaghan Innovations about it, because I knew that nobody was doing it. Nobody in New Zealand was doing it, and they were on board, and there was an opportunity for the market, because a lot of the gripe that you'd hear in the industry was drivers didn't feel that they were being paid enough. And so by having this concept and this platform meant that they could choose their own worth, but then they'd have to justify that and deliver on that by, there's feedback as well. So the company can rate the driver and the driver can rate the company. So that sort of provides a lot of the quality control as well. So if they're going to say that they think they're worth this, they're going to have to justify it if they're going to get that good feedback in return. So yeah, it kind of made an open playing field for supply and demand and gave drivers the opportunity to be able to pick what they think they're worth and get the opportunity to be paid that. So without us limiting that opportunity. And so rather than having an agreed rate with the company where we'd make our margin on how little we paid, we've sort of flipped it around. The drivers pick their rate. We have a set percent margin that we would charge on top, and the companies can, book and pay and have access to that resource of options, which is, as a company and coming from the other side of it, when we had Beach Bum Bus, we've been an operator, we know the challenges of having a vehicle, no driver, and what they can do for a whole raft of implications. So options as a transport company is one of the most critical things that you need to have, especially if you've got stuff that needs to go from A to B, and it's not always about the cost of that driver. Sometimes it's about the loss. If you've got, $500,000 contract and you're already on your last sort of warning because you've fallen short because of drivers not turning up, what's that cost or that loss to you for the cost of having access to a driver on demand 24/7 that you can book, search, find, book and pay for, and do everything with all via the platform. So
you sort of mentioned another business that you're just starting, another offering, Log Ninja. Perhaps you can describe that.
Yep. So again, there's when you sort of, you don't know if everything you're doing is right, but one thing I sort of struggled with in the whole sort of marketing side of the business was how much you need to spend on that whole know, like, trust and the whole advertising side of things. A concept I really like is the give value. If you give something away that's valuable, you can then communicate and connect with those people because you've provided something up front first, right? And every driver needs a logbook. So part of driving a heavy vehicle is to remain compliant under NZTA and the Land Transport Act. You've got to have a logbook. Yeah, we already had the developers for Road Ninja, and the cost to build a digital logbook solution and provide that to all the drivers in the transport industry for free just seemed like a no-brainer because they will need it. And if we can do that and give that value away, it's going to do good for our brand. We're a new company, so how do we get people to know about us? And I think that that small opportunity to do that and provide that's a good starting point. And without drivers, we wouldn't have a business. So a lot of the things we do are to support drivers in the transport industry. So we're very respectful of that, and anything we can do to support that I think is good. And the cost to build that solution and provide it is a good starting point to get some context to communicate directly, and who knows, maybe have a bit of a voice collectively for the drivers down the track as well. So
okay, you mentioned earlier about some mentors who've helped you along the way. I know Andrew Ritchie is an investor. Tell me a little bit about how that relationship works, how you met him.
He got on board and being able to leverage his insight and just be able to pick up the phone and give him a call when you need some advice or you've got some challenging sort of scenarios that you need to try and work your way through. It's always great to be able to have those mentors to sort of pick their brain, get their opinions on what they would do. Sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't, and I think sometimes they don't tell you because they want, you got to walk that path yourself a lot of the time. You can't just always give the fish, right? You got to teach them to fish, and it's just an honour to have sort of people like that.
Well, it's a fascinating journey, and thanks for sharing, and best of luck for the future.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.